and it's preparing to stream on Zoom, and it's preparing to do the same. So I don't know if it's going to show up that it's going live or not, but
I can see a little thing come up saying meeting is
well,
live on Facebook. There we are. We're live.
That's right. So we're live, Mo.
Exactly.
So welcome. First of all, I'm going to introduce myself. Some people know me, some don't. My name is Linda Robert. I am a coach. I'm also a teacher, but I'm also a coach. And today I'm actually interviewing a person that I never met before, except through Facebook,
Yeah, exactly.
Mo Calderone. And Mo, your title is, you are a social, what is it? Social
business leader.
Business leader. Okay, let's start with that. What is a social business leader?
Well, I mean, it's really how I build my business now.
Okay.
So I've been with a company for 28 years.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
You mean the company that you joined 28 years ago is still around?
Well, that's a good point too. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. They've been in existence for 36 years. And
wow.
Prior to actually starting this business, I had been a branch manager in banking. And I was wanting to get out of that. I realized I wasn't meant to work for somebody. So I started looking at all kinds of different things. And the gal that I used to work with, we both used to complain about getting out of the bank. Asked me if I was still looking to get out, and I said, yeah, more than ever. And so I went out to take a look. Now, 28 years ago, there was this kind of thing would never have happened. I mean, you couldn't even say, here, go look at a website.
That's right.
You physically had to go somewhere, right? Sounds like the dinosaur age, doesn't it?
Well, it almost is, because things have changed so much, right? And you're in Canada, right? In Ontario as well, right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm in Mississauga. And
right.
yeah, so, and I, you know, and so that's how it kind of got started. I started building it part-time while I was still working 50, 60 hours a week. I was determined I was going to get out of banking. And so even though it wasn't like, you know, at the snap of the finger success and things like that, I was looking at, you know, the workplace was like my motivator of let me get out of here.
Yeah.
Let me learn the other, and even if it's uncomfortable, because I want out of here. And it just kept getting worse and worse in the corporate world. And I mean, people that I know in the corporate world, it's not any better today than it was then.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think that's why there's so many people that are, you know, venturing out on their own.
Yeah.
You know,
So I think you bring up an interesting point. You know, like I had a Facebook group, and a lot of women on there were having their own businesses, and they were all about, you know, our age or so, and just starting their business. So it sounds like this is, you know, a long-term project, or it was, in a sense, a long-term project. So bring us back to 28 years ago, when you started thinking about doing it, and how you kind of, you know, grew into it over the years.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it really was that. I grew into it. I mean, I was terrified of doing what I was doing in this business. I used to have a garbage can sitting beside me.
Okay.
People would say, you throw out that much paper? And I said, no, it was in case I threw up.
Oh.
Right. I mean, my stomach would just churn, right? But I went, you know, I knew I was still doing the right thing. I knew I had to do the uncomfortable stuff if I really wanted to grow. Mm-hmm. Right. So that part did not, you know, I wasn't afraid of doing that sort of thing of growth. Mm-hmm. I just knew that I needed to, you know, keep going. And so when I was driving even to work, you know, back then I was listening to cassette tapes, you know, for trainings and stuff like that. Right. And so it was a good use of my time from that perspective, because I had at least an hour each way, you know, if we didn't have a snowstorm or something of that nature, you know. And, you know, it was facing the reality of that I did not want to be staying in the corporate world. And so when I did leave the bank, which was about 2 years later, I got to admit, I kind of fell flat on my face.
Right.
Because now I had all the time in the world.
Well, that's it.
Right, you know, and it's amazing what you think you can do And so again, it was another area that I had to grow and understand and learn and such, right? But I just kept persisting over the years, kept persisting. And I've done a lot of personal growth stuff. I've done courses, all kinds of different courses, including, one course where I went to, well, twice, it was part of the same organization. I went to San Francisco, just outside of San Francisco for it. And I tend to be a very, just a decision like that. I'm not an
Which
analyst.
probably helps, though. It probably helped in your case, right?
Oh, I absolutely agree. I'm
Yeah.
not one that I sit there and I have to analyze and take forever in the day to make a decision. It was the same thing as when I was in banking. I could make a decision like that if we were going to lend to the person, or if I wasn't, and I would even say to my staff, okay, rip it apart. There's something wrong with this. And they will, and they come back and they go, how did you know? I said, just my gut instinct, something is wrong. Or no, this one, we're going to work this one. We're going to make this one work somehow. And yeah, I mean, I had even a crazy situation a couple times actually when I was in banking. We were being robbed. And this one, again, all about my gut instinct, is that this one time I was in my office and I said, something's going on. It's not right. And I had, at the time I had a supervisor who was in my office sitting in front of me. And she goes, you're making me nervous, Mo. And so I got up and I walked over to the teller wickets and I stood at one of the empty wickets and I just stared down this line of people that was there. And it was an area where the majority of people are older. But the young fellow that was in line. And he saw me just staring down, even though we had cameras in the place. And he got out of line and left, and he had a duffel bag with him.
So something, yeah.
So we called the police, and they just looked at the footage, and they said, "Yeah, we think there's definitely he was going to rob you guys, right?"
Yeah.
And then another time, I was in my office again at another location, and all of a sudden I hear this screaming, and I went, and again I had another supervisor in my office. And I said, Stella, I think we're being robbed, right? And all of a sudden I see these people running out of the office, right? Because he had jumped over the central cash. This is in those days. So he jumped over the glass into the central cash area with a gun, right? And robbed us, right? And so I said to her, I said, I'm calling the police. Right. And she's like, huh? I said, just talk to me. I said, they'll have no idea what's going on.
Right.
Right.
So cool, so calm, collected.
Like totally so cool. So because we weren't allowed, I mean, the company did it that they wanted to protect us, that we weren't allowed to have these alarms.
Right.
Right. And anyway, so yeah, the poor staff that had to deal with it directly and stuff. Right. And so, as I say, it was always been my gut instinct that yeah, okay, it feels good. It doesn't, something's wrong,
right.
Kind of thing, right? And so it was the same thing in the business. And so I've just always have had the gut feeling doesn't mean that it's the wrong thing.
No.
Right? It's just that I needed to persist with it, kind of thing.
Right. And so that gut feeling, when you responded to those situations, is that part of the reason why you decided to make the change in careers? Was that part of it, or was it just other?
No, it was the bosses.
Bottom line, man.
Every time I got a new boss, I felt like I had to prove myself all over again. And after I had left, some of the colleagues that I had known, they said to me, we always felt that they were trying to break your back, right? Because I wasn't willing to play the political game. And they were trying to see if they could break my back or how far they could push me and all that kind of stuff. And I even had a boss that said to me, why do you want to do this? You don't like to play the political game. I said, just to show that I can do it. He said, they're not going to make it easy for you. And boy, did they not make it easy for him. But I look at it and I go, it did something for me to give me that stamina about myself.
That's what I'm thinking. That determination probably helped you.
Yeah.
Over those 30 years kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because most people who start in, a social type of business will try it, but then they get discouraged and they quit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Very much
Yeah,
so, right? Because it's a big growth phase. There's no curve, there's no doubt. And if it's something that they're coming into that they're not familiar with,
right.
it's very different. So it was about 4.5 years ago, we started hearing about, some of the teams building in Europe on social media. And they were promoting our whitening toothpaste.
Right,
And I was
right,
I'm like, really? That's not how you build business, right? I mean, we've had the toothpaste for years, or we're supposed to lead with the new products, not with the things that have been around forever and a day, right? Well, these young gals, obviously, they were onto something. They understood social media. And of course, they were all of a sudden, we were able to do before and after photos. Technology
right,
had evolved, right?
right, right.
Take a
Absolutely.
selfie, right? I mean, I even recently posted on Facebook. I was going through photos looking for something, and I posted it, and I said to this friend, I said, I'm not sure what this photo was. I said, but I think it was us trying to figure out how to do a selfie. It was the funniest photo to see, right? Kind of thing, right? And she goes,
I still don't know how to do selfies and whatever.
you just gotta have fun with them, is what selfies
Right.
really are. So
But it's interesting that they chose the toothpaste, because if that was your oldest, I'm wondering, did they choose it because it was,
they
your
chose it
most
because
reputable?
it was so simple to use.
Right.
Everybody knows toothpaste. I
Mm-hmm.
jokingly say everybody uses toothpaste, and if they don't, I hope I don't know them. And so you're able to, show before and after photos and all that kind of stuff really quick. Didn't take it doesn't take all this explaining to do and of how to use it and such, right? It's not like, let's see your results, or like even, weight loss, even though part of my business is in weight loss. It's not about having to wait a long period of time.
Right, right, yes.
Results and stuff, right? So it's very quick, and it's very affordable for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they were getting quick results like that kind of thing, right? So
Sure.
when I started hearing the numbers of what they were doing, I went, okay, Mo, suck it up, right? You're a numbers person, like it doesn't take much to
Yeah.
figure out that you need to be doing this kind of thing. And that's how I started building in social, was with toothpaste.
Well, I was going to ask you, so that was 5 years ago. You mentioned it was 5 years ago for them. Have you been on the social media for 5 years now? Or,
Yeah,
oh, wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And only using social media? Or is that your main way of marketing
Uh,
the products?
the last few years is certainly during COVID, that's the only way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's a blessing that I already had been on social, right? As opposed to having to learn it, because there was lots of people that had no idea, and now they're scrambling and that kind of stuff, right? Whereas
Mm-hmm.
for myself and the majority of my team, they were already doing social, and the ones that were sort of like still in and out, they totally are doing social, right? I'm sure some of it will go back to meeting face to face and that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I even have seen, I used to belong to some networking groups, and you meet at lunch or breakfast or whatever, and they're all meeting online.
They're all, I know.
Right, and they're all saying that maybe they'll only meet, once every so often, to still have some of that face to face and fun and all that kind of stuff, or go have a golfing game together or something like that, right? But it allows, on the online, it allows anybody, doesn't matter where they are geographically.
Yeah. And I think that's it. I mean, that's the advantage of your type of business, is really there is no limit where
No,
you could go, where you could sell, who you can meet, and so on.
exactly. Like we had a conference this past weekend in the States at near our head office. And I mean, I didn't go, right? I mean, because when I had to book tickets, it was still really, unknown as to how you were going to return to Canada.
Well, that's
Right, and I just said, and if I have to go I said, I live on my own. I said, if I have to go into quarantine for 2 weeks, right, isolation, I said, I'm out of here. I said, I've had enough already. The thought that I can't even go to the grocery store, right? I said, please don't do that to me, right? And I said, I've had enough, right? So I said, no, I'm not going to go to the conference this year,
But you were able to participate at
Absolutely.
least virtually, right?
That's right. They did an online Zoom. I did Zooms with my team in between sort of different areas. We had our own recognition that we were doing to have lots of fun with the team. So they really felt that, they were able to participate even though not physically there. And stuff like that, right? And there was a few of us that, we were in different locations. And so a few of us were at their house or they were at their house kind of thing, right? And so they were like little hubs or whatever you want to call it, right? Right?
I need to know, there's a lot of people, like I was mentioning earlier, that a lot of people start and then they quit and then they might start again in another business.
Sure.
And then, and then quit. You stuck with this business for 28 years. And so I'm going to ask you, why this business? Because, and I don't know a lot about your business, to be honest with you. I don't even know the name of it. I didn't do that. I didn't search that. But you stuck with this business for 28 years. There has to be a reason. Would you share that reason?
Yeah, I tend to be a very loyal person to begin with. I have, certain values that I live by, and I expect the people that I align with to be of those same values as well.
Sure.
And so it was the product that convinced me when I started the business, right? At the time they were talking about, when I went out to hear the business, they were talking about antioxidants and free radicals 28 years ago, and I didn't know what they were. But they passed around hand lotion. And this is, it's a funny story when you look at, today versus then kind of thing, right? They passed around hand lotion. And at the time I was going through a breakout of psoriasis from my neck down to my ankles. And I put on the hand lotion and I went, wow, this stuff gave me like instant relief. Right? And I thought, if they could do something like this, because I had been trying everything. I even was using pharmaceutical creams, and nothing. I did some of the craziest things to try and even help. And I thought, well, if they can make something like this, what else could this company possibly make? Right?
I just noticed that we're live, but my recording is paused. So, but we should be good on YouTube. That should be recording automatically.
Knowing that it's live on Facebook on my end, which means it technically is recording.
I hope so.
I can teach you to do a screen record after if that's all is where it is.
Okay, never mind. And this is live. You're hearing me saying that I forgot.
And that's part of the fun. It's live, right? And so, the company has always treated me really, really well. They've treated everybody really, really well. There was, it's going back some years ago, like 2002 or something like that. We were coming out with a device that measures antioxidants. We were at a conference when they were introducing this, and this was like, wow, this is incredible. And so they sent around these contracts if you were interested, that you wanted to put your name down to be able to lease one. And then we were off to another seminar again, right? And so I just literally signed it, and then I kept a copy, and I was turning in the other copy. And the gal that was sitting beside me, she said, "Aren't you going to read it?" And I said, "They've never screwed me before." I said, "They're not going to screw me now."
Right. And I think that's part of, I think the reason why anyone would join a company and stick with it is because you've learned that you could trust them.
Totally.
And, and if they're always giving you the same message and great products and so on, then why not stick with them?
Absolutely. And you're right, Linda. That's
that
exactly
makes
what it comes down to, right? Because you hear all kinds of stories. It doesn't matter what the industry is. It could be real estate, insurance, restaurant business, whatever. You're always going to hear good and bad in every industry.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Right. And you just, choose ones that, as you say, that that you can trust and that they really, are doing, in this case, they're really doing what's in our best interest. They've always, always, always have done what's in our best interest.
Now, I want to talk a little bit more about the products, and I want to talk a little bit more about, if somebody wanted to buy a product, do they go online? Is there shipping? Because, a lot of the companies are only based in some parts of the world, and then they don't ship to other parts. So I want to talk a little bit about that. But let's talk a little bit about the products first. I know you have toothpaste.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I sell huge amounts of toothpaste, and I still, it's really rather interesting. Literally today, somebody approached me that had used it before, I want 3 tubes of it kind of thing, right? But had seen, following, right? But what we're doing and stuff, right? So I'd already built the trust that it works and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But obviously the company is always innovating. They've received for the last 4 years as the #1 at-home device company in the world. And seriously, so we've got, a few beauty devices, but our #1 beauty device that has gone totally insane.
Actually, I saw one of your videos recently when you were.
Exactly.
Is it exfoliating your skin? What was it doing?
It's cleansing, exfoliating, but the big part is that it's building collagen.
Okay.
And so it's increasing collagen in the skin by 39%. And so when I first saw it, or even heard about it, it was actually launched first in Asia before it came to North America. So we were seeing some results coming out from people. And I said, I don't believe the results, right? I said, it's too extreme, right? And so but I believed there was going to be results. I just thought the results I was seeing was too extreme. So I decided to do half my face.
Right. Okay.
For 90 days, because the clinicals were based on 90 days. I went, okay, let's see what I can accomplish in 90 days. Now, the crazy part was I never took another photo in between, right? I just did the 90 days. Okay, let me take my 90-day photo. And I was like, whoa, kind of thing, right? Like, this is insane kind of thing, right? So I show my before and after photos all the time, needless to say, right? My half face, right? And people tell me, well, you look so much younger now even. And I said, well, that's because I evened out both sides of my face.
Thank goodness.
But it's so easy to use. And I always jokingly say, you got to wash your face anyway. You might as well give it a treatment at the same time.
Right. Yes.
And it's easy, it's portable. You can use it in the shower, that kind of stuff, right? We've got, a whole line that's dealing at the genetic level, but both internally and topically. So both on the skincare side as well as the nutrition side, it's all dealing at the genetic level. The science behind that is like unbelievable. When this is going back, oh my goodness, be about 12 years ago now.
That product came out?
That there is a product that came out, on the nutrition side, a product came out. A gal that I know, she had said, I used to always talk about the nutrition. She said, oh, Mo, she says, the nutrition industry is going to be revolutionized. She's a nutritionist. And I said, why do you say that? And she said, because they discovered the genes that cause aging. And I said, really?
Wow.
Right. So I was fascinated by it. So she sent me the research and I read this research and I was like blown away by it. Right. And so I had it sitting on my desk forever and a day because I was wanting to know when this revolution was going to happen. I still remember to this day, it was to the left side on my desk. I let it sit there and I would read, and it still hasn't happened. But I believe it will. When's this revolution happening? Right. And then one day our company announces that they're partnering with this company and they start talking about it. And I go onto their website and I go, this research is what Andy sent me. And I went, oh, the revolution is going to happen. Right. Because I said all they were researchers, but they had no idea or what to do in being able to create a product to actually do what the research had discovered in getting the genes to now function more usefully.
Wow.
Yeah. And so they were known as, the world-renowned researchers in genetics. And a friend of mine, she has 2 children. They both are PhDs. And they used to laugh at her for doing this business, like, oh, mom, like,
right.
And so when she told them that they had partnered with this company, and she said, her kids are going, well, do you know who they are? She's going, yeah, I do now, right?
Yeah.
But now her kids were actually figuring that she had some credibility.
So something's going on. She's doing something right.
Yeah, exactly. It was really quite cute, So that part of it has just helped the company to keep expanding further and further, both nutrition, especially on the nutrition line in that particular area.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So as we're nearing the end of the interview, let's talk a little bit more about how do people purchase products now? If we're on Facebook, so, they can obviously contact you through Facebook, I suppose, or are there other ways?
They can. I mean, the company does not sell directly to a person. Right? They have to go through a distributor in order to be able to purchase. Okay. And so it can be, it can go through my Facebook group. It can go through, I have a website as well where there's, I have my favorite products are there, that kind of thing. Right. So there's, when people like doing online, I have lots of people that just reach out to me. Some people even want to do parties, right? Become very popular, especially with, during COVID. Parties became a way of entertainment, I guess you can
Absolutely.
say. Right?
And virtual parties, right? Everything's done
all virtual, right? Nobody has to go anywhere. And of course, the joke is you don't have to clean. I saw one the other day that one of my distributors posted and said, don't have to clean your house, don't have to do this, don't have to, and you don't have to wear a bra. And
woo!
And then she added, and you don't need to wear a mask either, right? You don't have to worry about, if you drank too much, right? Kind of thing, right? You're in the comfort of
and you don't have to prepare tons of food.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so it's like, it's just over and done. It's easy, right? And so I've done different versions of parties. I've even done Zoom parties, an hour and people are chit-chatting or whatever. And I demo some products and things like that, right? And they've been really, really successful.
Right. Yeah. Cool. So interesting. And in terms of the shipping, we're in Canada, fine.
Right. Good question. And you're right, because that is an ongoing problem with lots of companies.
Yeah.
Right? They don't want to pay for having to bring the product into Canada, right? They don't want to have to go through, if it's a nutritional product, they don't want to have to go through Health Canada, all that kind of stuff, because that is another issue into itself.
Right.
Good and bad, right? But our company is in over 50 countries. And so when you're in purchasing in any of those countries, it's purchased in your currency.
Right.
It's shipped from your country. So like in Canada, it's shipped from Canada. In the US, it's shipped from the US. If you're in
makes
Europe,
a huge difference.
Like big time. If you're in South Africa, it's shipped from South Africa. You know? So yeah, it makes a big difference. So you never have to worry about, the exchange and duties and all that kind of stuff.
Cool. So we're almost at the end. Yeah, I'm saying this again. But so what's next for you in terms of this business? What's next for you? Where are you going with this?
What seems really weird is I feel I'm just starting.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Somebody said to me today, because we've got this big launch in the US going on right now, and I have a fair-sized business in the US. And so I was talking to him about it, and he goes, good to see that you're still at it, kind of thing, right? And I said, yeah, it's in my blood. I said, I love it. I love helping people succeed. I love helping them, be able to do more than they ever thought possible, not being poo-pooed like a boss would, kind of thing, right? And so I really feel like I'm just getting started. I'm having so much fun with doing social as well, and it's been an incredible year and a half, really. This past year and a half has been incredible what it's done for our business as well. So yeah, I feel like I'm just getting started, and the sky's the limit still.
Yeah, and I was going to say with the pandemic, it might have been a lot of negatives to the pandemic, but it sounds like in your case, it was all good. Right?
You're right. I mean, obviously there was things that, as I say, not to make the pandemic sound insignificant, because it was pretty tragic. And our company was incredible at being able to pivot to handle, the increase in sales. It was like unbelievable. I mean, even though the toothpaste sales had already, soared over the years from social through the roof, during the pandemic, the sales rose by over 500%. Firming cream increased by 1,300%.
Wow.
It was because people had nowhere else to go, so they're looking, right? And now, of course,
well, that's it.
Right, and so now it's, in many ways, it has changed the way people are gonna shop.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
has.
so perfect timing then, perfect timing to continue from here
Yeah.
on.
And I see more and more people, and you touched on it earlier, that more and more people are, looking, they've been with a company, they're looking to go in with another company. Could have been just bad timing for them, that kind of
Yeah.
thing, right?
Mhm.
And so, yeah, it's perfect timing again, it's allowed people to use technology that perhaps in the past they were resistant to. And now they become very comfortable with it because they were forced to have to use it.
That's right, and I don't think that's going to change.
No, I
You
don't.
know, this is the way, unfortunately, this is how I feel. This is the way it is now. This is the way business will be run now,
For sure,
through virtual networks like
for
this.
sure. Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure. It's
Well,
been
it's
a
been a
pleasure.
Dude, this was a lot of fun. I was really enjoying it. I applaud you for doing these, by the way.
Oh, no problem. It's my pleasure. It's been fun. And I love your background, by the way. Are you right now in Florida or Miami or something?
No,
Or-
I'm in Mississauga. That is a picture of our next incentive trip.
Oh, cool.
That's in the Riviera Maya. So yeah, so I've got that on my screen and things like that, right? And it's like such a perfect view if I get out of the
Oh,
way.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I love it. Perfect. Well, it's been a pleasure, and I'm fingers crossed that everything